Eye Hospital Ltd. She secured IIBA's Certified Business Analysis Professional in 2016 and has been an active member of IIBA Chennai Chapter since then. She is also currently the Vice President Communications and Marketing for the Chennai Chapter. Ms. Deepa is also a certified Scrum Master and very recently bagged IIBA's Cybersecurity Analysis certification as one among the top 100 across the globe. So today she'll help us understand about this specialization certification and her experience in pursuing it. Over to you, Deepa.
Thank you, Prashantini. Welcome all. Good evening. Today we'll be seeing the cybersecurity analysis certification overview, which is offered by IIBA. This helps to understand what a business analyst can demonstrate using this competency and how what are all the tools and guides available in order to demonstrate this concept. As per IIBA, there is a possibility of 3.1 million jobs to be opened in the domain of cybersecurity, and cybersecurity analysts will be sought after in the year 2021. So this certification comes in place just in the time of this moment. In today's webinar, the key discussion points which we will be discussing are the knowledge areas of these cybersecurity analysis certification. The prime being the role of business analysis in cybersecurity, cybersecurity concepts, the building blocks of cybersecurity, enterprise risk, cybersecurity risk and controls, securing the layers and data security, user access control and solution delivery, operations related to cybersecurity. I will be explaining the exam blueprint with respect to each knowledge area and what are all the points need to be prepared in order to get uh, control over the certification preparation. And I will be explaining my certification preparation part and also a gist of sample questionnaire offered by IIBA. Role of business analysis in cybersecurity. Before moving on to this topic, we need to understand the role, the definition of business analysis, which is defined by business analysis body of knowledge. It states that it's the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Based on the requirement of an organization or an enterprise, the business analysis will uh, will recommend solutions that will increase the ROI or that will deliver value to the organization stakeholders. So, what will be the role of pivoting role of business analyst in cybersecurity? Business analysts may not be from a technical background also. In that case, how cybersecurity is impacting the jobs of business analysis is what is key in the first knowledge area of CCA. Cybersecurity is a term which applies to all the security measures undertaken by an organization to protect its information assets from harmful resources which are available online. Okay, so in that perspective, how business analysis plays a bigger role in this particular competency, we'll be seeing in this particular knowledge area. So the role of business analyst in cybersecurity will be, he will be introducing the security services, processes, and technology via the projects, implementation of cybersecurity projects to all the stakeholders in the organization. And he will be supporting the security operations in which is undertaken by the security operations team. As a BA, he will be engaging with the IT security team and he will operate within the security frameworks or requirements which is with the framed by the business analyst with respect to each organization. Okay, so these are the key roles a business analyst will play in the cybersecurity domain. And the BA should be also, the BA is required to be a security expert to ensure the voice of businesses is built into the solutions. Nowadays, lots of IoT solutions are coming in as smart homes as smart offices, as SaaS, PaaS, and all the networks in all the domains also, this cybersecurity concept is very much applied. Why it is so means everywhere the connectivity is ensured. In if the connective if all the devices and endpoints are connected in order to bring out the output of a particular entity, then it needs to be secured in order to maintain its value to the purchaser as well as its customer. The BA should also, the second point, we need to understand it very clearly. The BA should also have a technical understanding of the business and its alignment with cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a concept, is an engineering concept basically. So a BA needs to know the basics of cybersecurity. What is a network? What is a network topology? How these attacks are being formed? How it is mitigated? How it needs to be responded? So all these technical understanding should be rightly available to a business analyst while working in cybersecurity projects, and his involvement and facilitation of a cybersecurity in the entire cybersecurity project lifecycle. It may be an agile or waterfall or a disciplined agile or whichever project lifecycle the organization follows. The business analyst should involve in each and every stage, and he should facilitate the project lifecycle. So these are the key roles a business analyst will play in cybersecurity domain. In all the knowledge areas, we will be having the technology expertise and process expertise points also. So why, and it forms a very key factor in understanding the role of BA in the particular knowledge area and how it is applying in the field of cybersecurity. In the first KA, the technology expertise which is required from a BA directory management, knowledge of directory management, networking, what are all platforms, systems, applications, and databases, data classification, storage, retrieval, what is internet, web, and cloud, what are encryption, authentication, authorization, digital and endpoint security. So these concepts will be listed down in each knowledge area, and a BA should have the technology level overall expertise on it in order to work in a cybersecurity related project. There will be process controls also specified with respect to each knowledge area, which I have discussed in the first slide. Enterprise risk, cybersecurity controls and risk. In those knowledge areas, there will be technology as well as process expertise. In this first knowledge area, with respect to the role of business analysis in cybersecurity, we need the following process controls and its knowledge and application to be very well versed by a business analyst. So, for example, in risk analysis and management, what is how the risk is analyzed, how it is managed in the form of a document called risk register. So this particular nuances a business analyst should know, and the business analyst should also know what risk complaints, what are the type of audits which are applicable to cybersecurity projects, what are the roles and responsibilities of the entire IT team with respect to a cybersecurity project, governance and incident management, stakeholder management, for example. In the next knowledge area is enterprise security concepts. So there is an important concept called CIA triad: confidentiality, availability, and integrity. So we'll be seeing a short video explaining this concept and how it is applied in the field of cybersecurity.
The CIA triad is the original security triad and covers key aspects to help us strengthen our security awareness. Confidentiality. This is all about protecting private information, personal details, and avoiding data leaks. We want to keep our medical records private so we don't post them on social networks. We want to keep our clients' and customers' data secret so they continue to trust us as an organization. We want to keep our PIN secret so the bad guys can't get into our bank account. We want to keep our secrets a secret. Integrity is about accuracy. error-free data, and learning how to notice violations. This can be as simple as double-checking your work or noting that answer which just doesn't seem right. We want to maintain the integrity of our networks and the files on them. We don't want someone messing around with those files, changing information, or deleting things in our archives. We want to ensure that information is not altered without authorization. Availability means that you have the information, systems, and resources you need to do your job and service your customers. We've all heard the phrase, "Sorry, systems are down," or "The servers are busy, come back later." We've seen what happens when systems in the physical world become unavailable, when cities lose power, for example. We want to make sure systems are available to those who need them when they need them. One cannot work without the other. All three aspects of this triad work together to protect our confidential information and keep us all safe from the bad guys.
So the confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad is very important and foundational concept of cybersecurity. So we have understood what confidentiality is all about. Who will be restricting the persons or the stakeholders who is eligible to access data, and we will be saving and protecting the data in such a way that nobody alters it. That is integrity part. And availability is that the information system is available online and serviceable to the customer at all point of time. It may be an IoT device, it may be a smartwatch which is connected to a business app like Healthify Me, or it may be a global ERP system, or whatever it may be. We will be prepared for all the attacks which are aimed at this organizational system as a whole, and we will ensure that the availability of the system is communicated to the user. If it is not available, we will be posting them teaser saying that the system is down for this particular time, sorry for the inconvenience, some messages like that. So these three concepts form the basis of foundational block of cybersecurity. So other key topics of enterprise security concepts are information security management system. This system is required in all organizations based on the organizational level. Policies, procedures, guidelines defined by the business analyst with respect to cybersecurity are maintained in this system, and it will protect that information assets. It will have all rules. It will have incident response plans as well. So what should we do when we are attacked by a ransomware? How we should respond? What plan and systems we should follow? So all these things should be maintained in this information security management system, and its access should be given to privileged users. So, and business analyst is owner of this particular concept. And the other key topics are risk capacity and benchmarking. Risk capacity is the amount of risk the organization is willing to take in order to reach its goal or achieve its return of investment. Benchmarking is a tool which will be used by IIBA frequently in this domain of cybersecurity by comparing with other organizations frequently on how they are building their security systems and what needs to be improved in a particular organizational system. In the first knowledge area, the cybersecurity overview and basic concepts, IIBA states that BA should have general awareness in all these topics and practical knowledge in all these topics. For example, what is the role of business analysis in cybersecurity? A general awareness. Conceptual knowledge is required, and how a stakeholder should analysis should be performed in order to conduct a stakeholder RACI matrix with respect to a cyber security project. So these practical knowledge is required by an BA in order to complete this knowledge area and be prepared for the certification point of view. So these are the awareness, these are the rules framed by IIBA with respect to the CCA certification. The next knowledge area is enterprise risk. The key concepts involved in this knowledge area are risk management and CA framework. There were different frameworks accepted by the widely in the industry, which is published by IIBA and IEEE, are NIST, ISO 27001, COBIT. So a BA should have a conceptual knowledge of what are these security frameworks is all about and how it applies to the cyber security. What are the key laws and rules which apply to cyber security. This will be published in the guide, and a BA should have a conceptual knowledge of it. And the other key topic is risk appetite. So the amount of risk, the BA will be calculating the amount of risk that an entity or organization is willing to accept in pursuing its mission towards building building an cybersecurity project. And next is penetration testing or pen testing. This important tool knowledge should be required by a BA, because this is conducted in order to assess where the organization is standing as of now in the context of cybersecurity, and where what are all the process it needs to improve in order to achieve it. So there will be a target systems will be selected before this test, and possible entry points in the perspective of an hacker will be seen, and to attempting to break in. It can be authenticated or unauthenticated, and the findings, the scan report will be made available to the license holder in order to improve their organization systems. So that's about the pen testing. And the very key topic respect to a BA is a BA develops a business case with respect to any project. In terms of cyber security, he or she should follow law of diminishing returns. It is considered as the cost can increase exponentially while returns may not. If this law is satisfied, then the organization is considered to be weak in terms of cybersecurity. So he should consider this law while developing the strong business case with respect to cybersecurity. The other important topic in terms of risk analysis and the assessment, which will be spoken in a wide area in this guide, is vulnerability assessment. Let's see a short video on how this assessment is analyzed and conducted.
Finding and fixing vulnerabilities is a constant battle for IT. You need not only vulnerability scanning and assessment of your network, but you also need details about vulnerabilities, like if a patch is available or if an exploit exists. The first step is to understand your network before scanning. Vulnerability assessment starts with asset discovery, which helps you tune your vulnerability scans. You can define your vulnerability scans to specific network segments and assets of interest, such as in-scope assets for PCI DSS compliance. Ideally, you should have traditional active network scanning. Your vulnerability assessment tool probes hosts to elicit a response to identify the specific services running on a system, versions of software, and patches. You'll then use that information to collect data and compare it to the database of known vulnerabilities. In addition, continuous or passive vulnerability monitoring layered on top of that active scanning is useful. It correlates the data gathered by asset discovery scans with known vulnerability information. Vulnerability management never ends. Because your network is always changing, you need to schedule vulnerability scans on a consistent basis. You should also be able to run scans as required on an ad hoc basis, such as after the disclosure of a new exploit targeting an application or OS that you're running. Vulnerability information adds context for security incident response. As a security incident occurs, you need to be able to run vulnerability scans on the fly to help determine if you are vulnerable to current exploits. You should be able to do unauthenticated scanning where no host credentials are required. In addition, authenticated scanning allows you to perform more accurate and comprehensive vulnerability detection by inspecting installed software and its configuration. You need to prioritize remediation of vulnerabilities you find. All of your assets are not equal. Some are more business critical. In addition, the vulnerabilities you find are also not equal. Some exploits that utilize those vulnerabilities have a much higher impact in terms of destructive capabilities. Having a view to external threat information, such as information on known malicious IPs, helps you focus on which vulnerable assets to remediate first by identifying any known malicious hosts targeting your network. Alien Vault Unified Security Management, or USM, provides built-in vulnerability assessment with the other essential capabilities you need for complete security visibility.
So we have seen about the vulnerability assessment scan, the tools and softwares available in market. So what use cases it follows in order to conclude with the vulnerability assessment and how it is used. So it is basically like a security scan software, a virus scan software. It is similar to that. In how it is scaled up in the senses, it will have knowledge about the all possible softwares and the endpoints of it, the entry point of the softwares, and the whole database it will have, and it will compare with the existing threats or any existing threat is available or any predictive, and it will also predict where there is any vulnerability, where there is any flaw in the design which is prone to vulnerability, and which is prone to that threat, which can be modeled as a threat model and which can be rectified. So all these points was available through this vulnerability assessment uh, technique, and this is very important in with respect to this knowledge area where this will be applied. This will be branch out in other knowledge areas as well, and it is an important key topic. So in this particular enterprise risk knowledge area, a BA should have general awareness on what cybersecurity risk assessment, what all the disaster recovery plans, business continuity plans are, and he should have practical knowledge on the business case formulation, which we discussed some time back. And he should know how to develop a business flow diagram and how to represent this potential cybersecurity vulnerabilities into it. What are all the threats which is highlighted in the vulnerability assessment scan? Those things are how which we will prioritize, which we will address in the particular cybersecurity project. Those things should be addressed in this business process flow diagram, and the practical knowledge should be known by a BA in the cybersecurity analysis exam point of view. So basically how these cyber threats works are, there will be threat agents, there will be botnets, there will be malwares, ransomwares. So there will be threat agents available in the net. The crime persons who are the threat agents who are after the organizations to bring uh, to steal their information or to demand any money from them. So they devise this attack vectors. So they will form this framework, and they will actually they will choose the entry points where the organization, a particular entity is weak in its security concept, and they will attack that particular security weaknesses. If the security weakness is breached, if it goes through it weakness, first firewall, basic firewall, or whatever security control an organization has put forward, it will be detected over there. Even if that is not powerful enough to control this threat or breach, then it will pass through and it will create technical impact in the organization system. If there is a technical impact, then it will have its respective business impact also. It will bring down a bit. It will bring down the organization to a standstill position where if its systems are not working, and it will impact the business value and ROI. So this is how the cybersecurity threats work. Microsoft has introduced how this threats are identified based on what are all the building blocks which analyze and which will be used for the analysis by business analysts in order to identify a threat. It is the mnemonic is tried, and let's see a short video and understand this mnemonic and its application.
STRIDE is an acronym standing for spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, and elevation of privilege. Prerit Garg and Lauren Cohnfelder developed it at Microsoft as a threat-centric model, as the word stride provides valuable mnemonic for 6 common threats. Let's break these threats down one by one. Spoofing is a malicious actor presenting falsified means of identification. Attackers will often perform this at several different layers within the stack, meaning the falsified entity may be anything from a MAC address to a compromised user account. Spoofing is a violation of the quality attribute of authenticity. Tampering is intentional and unauthorized manipulation of data in use, in transit, or at rest. Attackers tamper with data in an attempt to violate the integrity quality of a system. Repudiation is performing an unauthorized action upon a system and being able to deny the attacker perpetrated this act. This, unsurprisingly, violates the non-repudiability quality attribute. Information disclosure is the exposure of private, confidential or controlled data. Data leakage or data loss are common forms of information disclosure, although there are many other forms, all of which violate the quality attribute of confidentiality. Denial of service is an attempt to deprive authorized users of timely access to systems and is a violation of the system's availability quality attribute. Elevation of privilege is when an attacker gains additional and unauthorized access to a system. This privilege could be a legitimate user gaining administrative access or a malicious administrator gaining extra privileges. Elevation of privilege is a violation of the security and dependability composite quality attributes of a system. Stride is a useful mnemonic to help us assess threats to a system. It is, however, only a small part of threat modelling. I've recently started the book.
So we have seen the definition of stride, how spoofing, tampering, all these repudiation and all these weaknesses are used by an attacker or a threat agent in order to compromise an organization's information asset. So this is very important. This is an very important mnemonic, and it's an important topic with respect to this knowledge area. In respect to the cybersecurity risk and controls, a BA is required to have a general awareness of what all the cybersecurity controls are, and where we will find the various versions and how it is organized. And he should understand the 3 attributes to secure the information, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and how it is applied. And then understand the difference between what is a cyber threat and what is a vulnerability, difference between these two key topics. And he should have a practical knowledge on how to follow the rules of to identify typical impacts of a cyber attack to an organization. The next knowledge area is securing the layers and data security. So this is a basic environment, which is a pre-corona environment we had in a coffee shop or any other outside places where Wi-Fi will be available, and where multiple users will be accessing the network to use any official or personal information. They will be accessing through the Wi-Fi. So it will have different types of endpoints and devices. Like for example, a laptop, a mobile phone is an endpoint. It will have its own security firewalls. It will have its own security frameworks, and it will access the Wi-Fi. In the Wi-Fi service provider will have their own screening. Other malicious connection should not enter into it. And any smart watches or which is accessing the Wi-Fi, the IoT will have an inbuilt nowadays inbuilt cybersecurity is not available in IoT. Only an external framework is implanted into it. Such frameworks will be available in securing these layers. HTTPS will be used by the end users in order to feel protected, to access protective information, and how those layers, physical data layers, will be secured. If the user has some database which is not accessible via the internet, that data security needs to be protected, and that security frameworks with related to that particular data in transit or data in rest, those frameworks. So lots of security frameworks are involved in this particular scenario. So like this, another so many scenarios are there. For example, in an official environment, in an IT company, or in an manufacturing, automotive manufacturing environment, in a digitally enabled manufactured environment, where lots of IoTs are employed to monitor the controls. Many smart meters will be deployed. So the security concerns related to all these devices and all these frameworks needs to be analyzed by a business analyst, and he has to formulate a business case in order that with respect to the re- return of investment, with respect to the revenue of a particular organization, uh, protective standards are maintained, are protective tools are developed or purchased or evaluated, in the sense uh, tools available in the market which will suit the security threat models of a particular organization are implanted. So all these plans in all these entire life cycle will be handled by a business analyst. So that is explained by this knowledge area called securing the layers and data security. And we'll have important terminology called botnet, which is discussed in this particular knowledge area. The botnet is nothing but a compromised framework or a network of devices which is used by a threat agent. Okay, so they will have this compromised PCs. They will have this as a like a similar to a VPN connection. They will have a separate network, and this network will target other secured networks, accessing entry into that particular network and compromising the organization's information, respective organization's information. And this botnet and how it is applied in cyber threat attacks is discussed in this particular knowledge area. And the key topics are principle of least privilege. So this is a very key topic, in the sense a user, with respect to his roles and responsibility, access should be given to the particular respective access should be given to the particular user. For example, an end user, a user in the billing terminal, should have access only to the billing form and not to the other reporting reports or other purchase order or purchase department or billing or finance department departmental access should not be given to a billing terminal user. So based on the based on the RASI matrix of a particular organization, an access matrix should be designed, and it should be maintained by the security operations team, and it should be framed by the business analyst. So that explains the principle of least privilege. And pyramid of trust, that is, they will have several layers in a network topology. So securing each layer separately is of prime importance in order to achieve cyber security. And each layer should have this pyramid of trust. Each layer should effectively rely on the underlying layer, that it will not be compromised. To that level, it should be secured. So that explains this particular topic. And key pair, this is a very key topic with respect to cyber security domain. Public key and private key. Public key will be issued to all the users, whereas a private key lock will be defined to the user who will be using that particular information. He will be having the private key, and using this public key and private key combination only, a particular data can be accessed. So this concept is explained in the authorization authentication related all the knowledge areas in the cybersecurity analysis guide. In this particular knowledge area, a business analyst is required to have general awareness of multiple layers of technology and how to protect them. And he should understand what is endpoint security is all about. The other knowledge area is user access control. In user access control, the key topics which will be explained, which forms the basis of the entire knowledge area, is authorization and authentication. So authorization means we are correctly authenticated users are allowed to access the resources in their designated level. For the similar example which I used, for example, in a bookstore, a billing person should have access to the billing screen only, and he should not have access to financials. So in his designated level, his designated access should be there. That is authorization. And authentication is user's eligibility to access it, whether he has the correct credentials to access that particular information. And the BA's core concept model. So similar to BEBOC, we have this core concept model with respect to cybersecurity. In terms of change, the cybersecurity brings the business change in order to support security objectives, security requirements of an organization. In context perspective, it forms the business strategy. It is integrated with the business strategy and enterprise risk profile. In the stakeholders point of view, it impacts the customers and business leaders. So it forms an integral part in developing the RASI matrix and conducting the stakeholder analysis also. And in the value perspective, it assesses the reputational risk, and it brings out the operational value. In terms of needs perspective, it defines the business and operational needs. What are all the business and operational needs of a particular entity that should be reflected in the system that supports the entity, and what are all the requirements which will protect the informational assets. So these will come under the needs perspective. And in the solution perspective, cyber security should be implied from the design stage itself. So while the business analyst collects the requirements, it should be imparted in the design of the system itself. While considering, for example, in a design of a database, the segregation of fields with respect to confidentiality, integrity, and availability should be maintained while designing a database itself. So that forms the design participation. And the solution requirement should have the non-functional requirements called security requirements should also inbuilt it with the solution requirements. And it should if in an for example, in an agile life cycle, starting from the requirements user choosing stage, where we'll be prioritizing the user stories. This requirement security requirements should also come under the priority, and it should fit the purpose, and it should fit the goal of the business goal of the organization. So this is the BA core concept model of with respect to the cyber security domain, which is coined by IIBA. In user access control and solution delivery knowledge area, the business analyst should have general awareness about what authentication means, what access control, and what is privileged account management, and what is the principle of least privilege, what is SaaS, yes, PaaS, and what is target state of the business process with respect to a cyber security and initiative. In terms of practical knowledge, he should know the rules which needs to be set up in order to uh, implement authorization. He should follow the rules, key actions the employee should take responsibility in order to maintain the security. Those guidelines should be formed by the BA in discussion with the business team. And he should follow the rules to elicit the user access requirements with respect to the security requirements. And he should identify the security requirement, and it should be presented in all the life cycles of the particular project. And he should have the follow the rules to document the current state as a state of the business policy and and the projected state also. That should be covered in the business case, and he should map the cyber security solution components back to the security requirements. The ninth knowledge area is the operations knowledge area. So the key topics discussed in this particular knowledge area are security incidents response team, SIRT team. This should be formed with respect to all the organization based on their size and the number of stakeholders involved. This team will be formed, and this team will enact the incident response plan when a threat is detected. So when a ransomware attack comes, so what are all the steps needs to be followed by an organization in order to secure its most private information assets. So all these action plans will be maintained in the incident response plan, and the team which maintains this plan and which will enact this plan is the security incident response team. The root cause analysis is a very key important technique used by the BA in order to analyze the threat, where it is impacted, and it should be well documented, updated back to the risk register and the incident response plans and other threat models. So root cause analysis is a very key technique used by a business analyst in order to perform all these activities. The incident response team is also responsible for business continuity plan. So in case of a threat, if a ransomware attack is been is a is impacted an organizational system, so how it will respond? Any other systems where the same system can be hosted in another private network in a different server, and it can serve to the same customers through other endpoints. So these plans are maintained in a business continuity plan, and SIRT team is responsible for it. And the other key topics are key risk indicator and KPI and risk register documents. So these knowledges are very important with respect to this knowledge area. And in the exam point of view, general awareness of the topic on how to create and maintain a risk log, and how to basic knowledge of 4 risk treatment operations. This can be applied in any knowledge area: accept risk, avoid risk, transfer and mitigate risk. These concepts should be known by the business analyst, and he should understand what residual risk is and how to create a report template with respect to security metrics, and he should understand root cause analysis technique as well. So these are required uh, in the exam point of view for operations knowledge area. Um, Coming back to the exam preparation path, I have followed the Pareto principle which suggests that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. So basically, I will target the important key topics in all the knowledge areas, which I have explained in my presentation so far. And I will search for the recordings videos in the online, and I will tag it in a document in a PPT for with respect to each knowledge area. And the key topics, I will have the video recordings as well in order to go through the skim the guide in a quicker manner, in a video recorded manner. So I have created my own video recordings of the all the knowledge areas and the key topics. So this 20% of the topics will have impact in the entire knowledge area, and it will have, and the questions will be coming from this topic impacting other sections as well. So this is the key technique which I used while preparing for the CCA examination. So this is the sample questionnaire published by IIBA with respect to cyber security analysis. I would request Prashantini to ask the participants to select any question, any option in it, and type in the chat window.
Okay, you can start typing in the options in the chat window. It's mostly between C and D, Deepa, if you can guide the participant.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your responses.
Thank you for your responses. Let's see the answer. It is C. The business case of cybersecurity support should include analysis of potential risk, including probability of and impact of the risk. So congratulations everyone. You have understood the knowledge of cybersecurity analysis offered by IIBA and IEEE, and you can enroll to the program for further information. So this certification is offered. Hello.
We have one question, Deepa, from Anil Kumar. How is this certification better than CSM or CISA?
Okay. Cybersecurity certification. Cybersecurity certification is very unique certification actually in terms of business analysis. So it will give an perspective of entire how to manage the cyber security project in terms of an enterprise perspective, and in all the knowledge areas where starting from the endpoint security till the enterprise security requirement governance framework design, till that what is the role of a business analyst and what are all the use cases a business analyst will be facing and will be working on, and what are all the different technology knowledge, technical understanding that business analyst will be requiring, and what will be the process controls he will be involved to implement on. So the entire business of cyber security project with respect to a business analyst is explained in this certification, and it is entirely like you will be if the, you should understood the entire perspective of cyber security from a business analyst's point of view in order to clear the certification. Yeah. Over to you, Prashantini.
Thanks, Deepa.
Please to our president, Mr. T.R. Madhavan.
One more
Mr.
question,
Ashok.
Deepa.
Yeah.
Sudhakar, are companies recognizing this certification?
This demand has been forecasted by Gartner and IIBA that there will be like 3.1 million job opportunities with respect to cybersecurity, and that will be you can see very well in the market by 2021, and it's published in IIBA website. You can watch out to the uh, IIBA website, and what are all the career roles which are offered generally in industry is also published over there. You need to become a member in order to see the surveys conducted by IIBA in that perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Deepa?
Yeah, so we have the upcoming webinars on achieving business agility with product owners conducted by Mr. Syed Nasir Rasik, and the robotics process automation by Ms. Prabha Bhagwat Singh coming up in this month. Please watch out for the future webinars. Thank you everyone for your participation. Please reach out to us in terms of further questions on the cybersecurity analysis.